Welcome to Ozzy Ferocity. This is the Oz Radio podcast with your host, Loopy Legend, and his fabulous new co-host,
Mr. Wheatley.
Yes. We are now known as the Mad Chatters. It was a combined effort to come up with the name. Trust me, we sat here for hours trying to think of that. Was it hours or minutes?
Hours. There were terrible, terrible names that should never be mentioned by the light of day and would be buried deep down in the vault.
Whose idea was it to make the Mad Hatters backwards? The Had Matters? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, even the Had Matters was better than my original idea to call us the Loopy Mark Crusaders.
No comment. Anyway, we have as our special guest today the Commander-in-Chief himself, Leon Hunter.
Leon Hunter!
Yeah, g'day.
Oh, so now the Commander-in-Chief is all powerful, is now all shy. I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, I'm not shy. Don't confuse her. I'm just, reserved. Reasonably reserved.
He's the captain. He's the kind of general who likes to sit in his base wearing sandals.
Yep, Leon's Leon. He's already been on here 1 minute, and he's already ruined my dreams of trying to make him feel shy. Oh, well. Can't live forever, can I? I can't live forever. Anyway,
not if I have anything to do with it.
We have a big show lined up today, as we do have Leon on with heaps of questions. We finally got some emails in, which we'll read out later on. Thank you for finally emailing us, ladies and gentlemen. It's nice to get some feedback. It's nice when our work's appreciated. You like being appreciated, don't you?
Depends who's appreciating me.
The opposite sex.
Tasty.
Yeah, I thought that might get your attention. How about some guy in a gas mask and umbrella?
Oh,
hey, I'll take that.
Anytime.
Yeah, I thought you might go for that.
Hang
on. Hey, I got the perfect idea. A girl wearing a gas mask with an umbrella.
Oh, I already know one of those. Her name's Abby Page. She lives in America.
Great. You already got fans that do that?
Oh, man. If I was in America, I would so be there.
Great. All I need is a fan that dresses up in a kangaroo costume with a straitjacket on, then I'll be happy as Larry.
Sounds to me like you need to be dating Harley Quinn.
Oh, I hope the joke doesn't mind. I'll take that. Definitely.
Like he cares about her.
Oh, good point. All mine. Yoink. Anyway, we'll get right into this. We do have some heaps of news. The first bit, as I said before, that me and Riffmere are now known as the Mad Chatters.
Right.
And if you do happen to catch us, make sure you say hello. And I do like to quote something that Solar told me. Solar did, and I quote, say that if this podcast does become popular, which you better make it become popular, that he would actually incorporate the Mad Chatters as bosses into the Saxon Hail.
All over my keyboard.
He said he put some costume in. He said it'll only happen when me and Wheatley are both on in some kind of combination or something, but he'll still do something like that, he says. Oh, but yeah, come on, that would be fun, wouldn't it? We'll just tear everyone apart.
Oh, it'd be fantastic, especially if we got to do the voice acting for the characters.
Oh, well, come on, we better be able to do the voice acting, and we also get to do the trolling when we're playing them.
Oh, God, the intro would be 60 seconds long.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Oh, we can always put it in baby mode and make it 30 seconds,
yeah.
Like a chipmunk.
Hey, if I have anything to do with it, by the time the intro is over, everyone will be dead.
I second that.
Yeah.
What? Dead from laughter or dead from boredom?
Oh, both. Alright, we got some April Fool's news here. Actually, Riffme knows a bit, but he's been reading into that.
Oh, yes. I was well acquainted with the Team Fortress Wiki's hilarious April Fool's shenanigans. They included a fake update, which sadly had as many plausible things as it had implausible things. The implausible things being the cape, which I have always said would be the best item ever, but will never exist because nobody could ever possibly animate it properly using the graphics engine. But it also had, what I'm sure many fans will be very disappointed about, the Headcrab Hat, which is basically confirmation that it's never going to be in the game now because they've used it for April Fools.
You sure it'll never be in the game?
Well, it doesn't seem like the kind of thing that they would do. The only item that's been a joke item that's been introduced previously and then thrown in later was Girati, but even then. Having said that, I will also say that there was one thing in that patch update that I thought was actually a really good idea, and I saw no reason not to include it, which was they made it so that any item which isn't of the face region of the spy would be worn when a friendly spy was disguised. So if you see a friendly spy, yes, he's wearing the mask, which shows that he's in disguise, but you could also see the other hats he was wearing. So if he was wearing an unusual, his teammates could see it, but the other team could not. And I honestly see no reason why that shouldn't be implemented. It would be really, really cool, and it wouldn't affect anything. It's just a visual change that would be really, really nice.
That would be nice, actually.
As I said before, I'm very sad that some of this was not real, but I also got a severely good kick out of it, especially the fake announcement of Ricochet 2, because we all remember Ricochet with fond memories, don't we? That game, which I've never heard of until now.
I actually used to play that game. The only thing I remember is Dread falling off the edge every 5 seconds. I never got good at it. I only got knocked off at it, really.
I took one look at the promo item they released for it, the disc or whatever it was, the circular saw, and I just thought, what is this, a Tron item? My God.
Did you see any of those updates at all, Leon?
Which updates?
For the April Fools at TF2?
Yes, I did see it. And as soon as I saw Ricochet 2, I just facepalmed, since it was an obvious troll.
Oh, yeah.
That was never going to happen. But I think we all know where that joke is spawned from. That's actually an old Episode 3 joke where Valve are basically going to go through and make an Episode 2 or version 2 of everything, no matter what it is. And then they'll finally get around to, Half-Life 3, which is never going to happen.
Well, I suppose the good thing is that I wish they would, if you had to pick one thing they could implement out of all those April Fool's tricks, what would it be?
Definitely the spy thing.
I would personally love those capes, though. I mean, I'd love to walk around and pretend I'm Super Soldier on steroids.
If they ever released those capes in any kind of an unusual type, I'm pretty sure they would become the single most expensive item the world has ever seen before.
What, like 10 buds?
Currently, an unusual team captain is already worth 10 buds. An unusual cape with flames coming out the back of it, I'm pretty sure you would have to offer to sell your genitalia and post them in a bag.
or maybe you can get away with 100 cases of your own Girardi. You reckon that might hurt?
Quite possibly. I'm pretty sure that would hurt quite a lot. Even if the urine doesn't hurt you, the constant shattering of glasses over your exposed flesh will.
Oh, well, another good reason, and it's just coincidence that we have Leon here for this one, but our Minecraft servers are having a bit of a reshuffle. I mean, there's no confirmed dates yet, so don't go rushing off begging for dates because we don't know just yet, but the Barn Blitz and also the Creative server, so the Survival and Creative server, are being redone with new maps from the 1.2 update, so we'll have all the new things like jungle biomes, all the other, I can't remember off the top of my head, all the other cool stuff Minecraft comes in. You can confirm all this, can't you, Leon? Without a date.
Without a date. We have been working on various changes. Obviously, with 1.2.4 coming out, people want to play around with jungle biomes and they want to play around with ocelots and all that kind of stuff. So, we've kind of been forced into a position where we have to redo the original worlds that we have right now. So with this new reshuffle, we're implementing the new worlds. We're implementing an archiving process where rather than just ditching the old world, we're going to actually keep it on the server. And hell, there will even be a transition period between the two worlds. Even though it's a clean start, you'll be able to still build in the old world for a set period of time. Or if you're keen to get a head start on everyone else, you can start building in the new worlds. With that, of course, will come new features like a new economy. Unfortunately, our changes in the last update kind of worked too well. We kind of wanted to decentralize the game from the economy. And so we made some changes that made the economy less important, except we made it too little important now. And so now we're trying to fix that up. In this update, the only other things we'll be implementing mainly are a new questing plugin to give something for people to do when they finally built everything they want to build.
Is that like the sorry to interrupt? Is that like the system where you get like the compass and you track down treasure chests at a certain locations around the map?
No, but we could actually do that as well. What we had in mind was a simple fetch X quantity of Y. And you'll get a random reward for it. or kill blah 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 or whatever. But no, now that you've mentioned that does seem like a good idea. The only other change that's happening, now that I think about it, is that we are implementing voxels, which are per player worlds. So you'll be able to have your own little private creative flat world, which you and anyone you invite to it can build on. The main reason we're doing that is as a phase out for the old region protections. It's a lot easier for us to do things that way than running around protecting regions for people.
Fair enough.
So
that is, would that be survival or creative mode, those custom regions?
The private world, your own little private player world, will be creative.
Cool.
And it will be separated from everything else. So, yeah, you got that to look forward to. I'll give credit to Razar for most of this, since he's been the one who's really been working on Minecraft of late. I've been working on other things. So, yeah, you got that to look forward to in the near future.
Alright, I do look forward to that. And I do have one more question. Would you be implementing building me a custom city for my own purposes and I can treat it as the best city in the game?
No.
Oh, again, you're crushing my dreams. What are you doing to me, Leon?
Plain and simple, no.
Well, I'm more than happy to build you a custom city, but you have to understand that I will fill it full of really unpleasant traps for you.
Really? Like pitfall traps, or more like I formed the lava?
I've made a specialization out of playing on Minecraft multiplayer servers with my friends and just making entire areas for people to come and visit that are riddled with really devious, annoying traps.
Although,
hey,
on the mention of towns, in the old world we had an admin town which you started out in. In the new world, that town will no longer exist. So as soon as you join in the server, you're pretty much going to have to join a player-run town. There'll be no admin-run towns. And again, that's mainly about giving players things to do. But also, we're going to, depending on how certain modifications handle this kind of behaviour, possibly look at inter-town wars and inter-town competitions in the new setup. Of course, there'll be prizes, etc., for winners that we aren't disclosing yet. But some of them are not related to the Minecraft server. Some of them do carry over to TF2.
oh, does that mean we get to dip into our Solar's Unusual collection and grab whatever we want?
I'd have to talk to Solar about that. I'd have to talk very nicely to him.
Well, okay, yeah, that's fine. But on the mention of traps, Riffmere, you obviously haven't seen my creative project on the creative server, have you?
I have not been onto any of the Ozzy Ferocity Minecraft servers, I'll be completely honest. Most of the servers I go on generally are with a very small amount of close friends who are kind of pretty consistent about what they do. And also because we like a large amount of freedom, but at the same time, just freedom to make up our own rules as we go along.
You think your town's scary. Wait till you see Ponyville. Have you seen that project I've been working on, Leon, at all?
Yeah, I have briefly. I saw it in the early stages. I haven't seen it as it's taken form, though.
Okay. Well, if you ask Razar with me, it's quite nasty. Even he doesn't think he'll be able to finish it.
I like Minecraft just for the creativity it allows, but sometimes I do find myself playing, single player when multiplayer isn't working, and just thinking I'm making all this fantastic stuff which nobody's ever going to see.
Yeah, that's the only reason I play multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
Single player's overrated, I reckon. If you don't have multiplayer to show anyone, what's the point, really? Screenshots.
The single player can be fun if you install the right mods, but mostly I just prefer to go with multiplayer. But only if you've got some good friends to play it with.
Oh, you got to have good friends to play any good game with, don't you?
Yeah. Well,
that's what we're all about here at Aussie Ferocity. Anyway, let's move into the next section. We do have Leon here, so we are going to pull up the chair, tie him to it, and torture him with every kind of device on this table, including my Tratton and Paid Feather Duster.
And,
you're going to laugh to death, mate.
Questions. They also work.
Oh, they do? What are you, Batman? Oh, no, that's right, you're Umbrella Man. I forgot you were even scarier.
To be honest, I found the Feather Duster more intimidating than your questions.
You would, you silly furry.
Oh dear. I'm honestly surprised you selected the word intimidating there. I would have thought you'd be quite keen on the feather duster, but maybe that's just me.
Alright, if that's the case, you're going to feather dust him down, not me. You can dust him. Good luck. I'm going to shut the door and just put a camera in there to expose you later on, then get money out of you, hush money.
Hey, just so long as you start playing the little Spanish flea before you leave, I'll be just fine.
No problem. I'll even put the your favourite pirate song on while I'm at it too. Anyway, so a few questions on our mind, and I'm sure everyone will agree with me. Everyone wants to know a little bit about you, so before we get into it, tell us a bit about yourself, what you do for a trade, what you do for a bit of fun about yourself out of Minecraft. Or Ozzy Ferocity, sorry, my bad.
Okay, I guess the most obvious thing to start off with is I'm actually 21. I'm living in South Australia. I'm a full-time uni student at the moment, studying a degree in networking and security, and I'm in my second year on that. Although, yeah, second year still, which kind of correlates with Ozzy Ferocity pretty well. Outside of uni, of course, I run Ozzy Ferocity. I contribute to a couple of open source projects as a programmer, and I also do volunteer work for a game server provider called Quad Eye Servers Australia, which is where Ozzy Ferocity actually started in the early days. They've been providing our service for quite some time now. So if you need a game server, get it from Quad Eye Servers Australia. Okay, that's the advert time.
Wait a second, I didn't authorise this.
Oh, well, tough luck. You just have to edit that bit out. What do I do to enjoy? I mean, my main hobbies in life are, of course, gaming. That's always been a huge thing for me. I've always had a lot of time for games and people online purely because it's a great release at the end of the day. When I'm not playing games like TF2 or that, I'm with university friends, doing what university people do, which is basically drinking every second night.
In other words, go watch an episode of American Pie.
I'm not going to even entertain that with a response.
I'm going to have to agree with Leon on this one.
I was taking a wild guess. I'm not a uni student, never have been, never will be.
Well, yes, I can't complain, to be honest. But no, all in all, Ozzy Ferocity accounts for a huge part of my time. And outside of that, it's just uni friends and Quad Eye and that. And yeah.
Alright. Next question. Now, this one is one I've actually been wondering for an answer for, but back at the beginning, did you just happen to one day say, I want to start a gaming community? Like, what was the inspiration originally behind Ozzy Ferocity? Was it you and a few mates? Was it you want to run a professional gaming community, just see what happens and how it grows? Like, what happened? Fill us all in on the amazing foundation of this Ozzy Ferocity you came up with.
Okay, well, when Ozzy Ferocity started out, it wasn't even called Ozzy Ferocity. For those people who know the history, it essentially started out as me and a group of friends. And we were playing TF2 a lot. And the group of friends just happened to be furries. And so we wanted a server in Australia where we could play Team Fortress 2, have fun, etc. And there weren't any real servers out there that catered to our I call it a subculture. But what we wanted to do was we wanted to set up some kind of place where we could all get together and simply have fun. That's all we wanted. We were a pretty laid-back group, which was also the foundations for our anti-competitive inclination. But So what I did was one day I approached a group called the Furry Pound, whose relationship with us has deteriorated a lot. But anyway, I approached a group called the Furry Pound and said, hey, I want to run a couple of AU servers. Maybe we could work something out. I could run it under the TFP banner for the TFP group and that. And just see how that goes. It gives them a presence in Australia, and it gives my friends some way to play, as well as the promotion that would have been required for more people to join. And so it was a win-win situation, and the relationship started out reasonably good. However, as time went on, there were increasing differences in how we wanted to run things. I very much wanted... Now, I should probably explain. The Furry Pound is an American group. And I very much wanted to run my servers as to cater for the Australian community. And so I wanted to deviate from their standard setup a fair bit. And I also...
Just to stop you there, if you wanted Australian servers, why were you like integrating and making deals with an American group?
Because they happen to have been the largest furry group in the world at the time, as in gaming group. And they had servers in the US, and so by affiliating with the Furry Pound, they gained an AU server. I think at the time it was 2 AU servers.
Yep.
And we gained the promotion that we needed to get those servers going. You know, meet new people, have fun. Mm-hmm. It was a win-win situation, and at the time, Ozzy Ferocity hadn't even been thought of. However,
that's true, yes.
However, as time went on, the relationship soured due to differences in direction. I wanted to cater for the AU community specifically, whereas some of the Furry Power staff wanted me to keep those servers in line with their other ones. They preferred uniformity. I preferred, okay, well, it's the AU players playing on it. Let's cater to the AU players.
I've got to be completely honest. I'm only kind of vaguely half paying attention to the overall story and just trying to pay attention to what you're saying. So I keep hearing things like, keep them in line, uniforms, and I'm like, wait, is there some subtext you're not telling us about?
No.
I'm almost disappointed.
It's okay, I'll work something into it in a while. But no, and so one day I pretty much decided I had had enough. I knew what I wanted to do with those servers and with my friends, and I knew how I was going to get there. So I started up a group called Ozzy Ferocity, and I didn't really expect it to go anywhere. And 7 days after starting up this group, the Furry Pound finally decided that they no longer wanted anything to do with the AU servers. And I was like, yippee! I started OzFur 7 days ago. And so that's how it all started. Basically, I'll call it post-TFP. We pretty much kept things the same for a while. We had the same principles, like no spawn camping. That was one of TFP's principles, and that certainly stuck with us.
Yeah, because it's so well enforced.
Well, we try to enforce it where we can. It's kind of like speed limits. Speed limits aren't always enforced, but they are there for a reason. And in this case, the spawn camping rule is there to ensure fairness and fun for everyone. Since nothing sucks, I'm going to be blunt. Nothing sucks more than waiting however long you have waited to spawn just to get killed the second you walk out. It blows.
Yeah, I can agree to that.
At times it can be bittersweet when you finally get the fucker. I don't know if I can say that, but I just did. But, for the most part it sucks. And so that stuck with us for a long time. When we first started out the group, we didn't have any big ambitions. We didn't think it was really going to go anywhere. You don't start a community and think you're going to get big overnight, or big at all.
Some people do, actually. I've met a few people that have done that, and, it blew up in their faces, but they still thought it was going to get this big.
Yeah, and I suppose that's one of the things that were part of our success. We didn't try to get big. We basically had an idea, we had servers, we had a setup, and we had rules and admins. The whole kit was popular, and the admins were great. Dramavian, there were a whole bunch of admins we had at the start. Dramavian's been with us from the start. Of course, he retired recently due to inactivity. But yeah, there were a whole range of things, and they were what made the community great. We were this close-knit community, and basically the people you saw one night would be there the next. And that is what makes a great community great, the people who come back.
Oh, yeah, I can actually, I can relate to that. Back when I used to play World of Warcraft, I had a guild that was nearly 1,000 strong, and well, what made it was the mods and admins of the guild, basically. So
Yeah.
In retrospect, no community, no group.
Well, sure, in a most happy and dandy way, but I can also say this for a certain fact. There was a certain other set of servers which shall not be named, featuring a few players who shall not be named, and it was the fact that those certain players kept coming back, and the fact that the administrators will not do anything about them, that was the thing that actually made me want to leave those servers in the first place. Return customers can be a blessing as much as they can be a curse.
Ah, in some regards, yes, but $20 says it was your Mr. Suspicious again.
Actually, no, it wasn't Mr. Suspicious. Mr. Suspicious I haven't heard from, thank goodness. No, this was a fellow who, I won't say his name, but everyone will know exactly who I'm talking about when I say that he's a scout who taunts constantly. I will say no more. That's all that needs to be said.
Hey, I swear it wasn't me.
Oh, no, it wasn't you. Trust me. This guy is not... This guy is not fun. He doesn't take himself... Well, never mind. I'm not even going to continue. I don't... This is about Leon. I'm not going to get into a huge bitter rant right now. I just hope that he dies horribly.
Fair enough.
Well, yes, putting aside Wheatley's strong feelings on this mysterious scout, no, but it was definitely, at least in Ozzy Ferocity's instance, it was definitely the return customers, Wheatley included, that, really, I'm only saying that because you're here, that really made the community great. And from there on, it just grew. It was a popular concept. The idea of the community just wanted to be laid back, just wanted to be let things run their course, and just get together and play together every night.
I suppose that's half the fun of being Australian too, in a sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd say that. And so it just took off from there, and it's been a blessing and a curse ever since.
Well, being laid back comes with its pros and cons. I mean, everything has pros and cons as well, but, that's why some people sign up to serious communities and other people sign up to laid back communities. Just whatever tickles your pleasure.
Yeah, essentially.
And, well, at least I know I wouldn't change Ozzy Ferocity from what it is at the moment. I like it. It's laid back. I can come back, game whenever I want, and do my bit to help out. And, well, I'm as happy as Larry. It always works.
For me, it's only gotten better. I seriously got to give props to Leon and Solar and everyone else who's been involved, because nothing says good gaming experience like playing a pirate. That's it.
Well, I got to ask, was that your idea or was that Solar's idea, that pirate thing?
I believe that was Solar's idea. I don't know where he got it from, though. It just suddenly... I was reading through the patch notes one day because whilst we don't have notes public for various reasons, anytime Solar makes a change, there's a recording of it. And I'm reading through the patch notes one day and I see Gangplank. He added Gangplank and I'm thinking, okay, where the hell did that come from? And anyway, so I jump in the game and check out, someone said it was a medic. I think it was a Candyman ult.
Yeah, Candyman ult, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm checking out this Candyman ult and I've become a bloody pirate. And I'm thinking, wow, I mean, why didn't we think of this before?
Yeah, I reckon. It's a good incentive for Soul to get right. I mean, for people to actually have sparkling bosses, yes.
I have a question for you here. I wasn't entirely sure. When you said you weren't sure where he got the idea from, are you saying that you're not sure what prompted him to make the boss, or you don't actually know where Gangplank is from?
Oh, I know where Gangplank is from. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know what popped in his head one day to make him want to say, hey, Gangplank would make an awesome VSH boss. I mean, it just seemed random to me, since usually when I'm talking to Solar or in general, Usually he hints about things he's thinking about. And 99% of the time it's pony bosses and I just tune out. But I definitely don't recall hearing anything about a pirate boss before it got added. And so, yeah, so I was pleasantly surprised like everyone else.
Let's be completely honest, you don't need an excuse to add a pirate into your game. It's just one of those things that you can do and nobody is allowed to question your motives.
Yar! Or they will.
Well, yeah,
Wait,
I don't think there's any game out there that you couldn't get away with adding a pirate into it. I mean, even Tetris needs pirates in it.
Technically, I don't see you can add one to Star Wars unless they're space pirates, but minus that, probably anything else. Wait, don't tell me you can find some way to put pirates into Star Wars now.
There are already pirates in Star Wars. What do you think
Real
all the
pirates
bounty hunters are called?
I said other than space pirates. I mean, I'm talking about real pirates that sail wooden ships.
Yeah, I can think of a few ways to put that in. There's a lot of planets. There's a lot of planets in Star Wars. Not all of them are going to have space travel.
Yeah, true that. Well. But that just gives me an evil idea. So that means if I cautiously and without warning link Solar set YouTube clips, he'll add bosses that are in said YouTube clips to the game?
No, I don't think it's that simple.
And here I was going to slowly leak him Ripperoo bosses.
Again, and I suppose it really depends on whether or not he's in LoL at the time you link him or not.
That's true. Solar and LoL equals does not answer. Leave a message after the beep.
Don't worry, it's nothing personal. He doesn't even answer me when he's in LoL.
I know that.
I don't think
he's tuned out. He does that.
I don't think you've got it quite right there, Loopy. I think it's leave a message after the beep, and then the beep never comes.
I can relate to that. Yeah, I've left him a few messages sometimes, and 2 hours later I find out he's been playing LUM. Like, so that's why I didn't get a response. I just come to expect it now. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a sad thing, actually.
Well, kind of good, because it gives him... I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, Solar's in a position where he gets... And I mean this in the nicest of ways. He gets harassed by a lot of people. Don't get us wrong, we love the players, we love those people who have suggestions, and we love all you guys. But sometimes it is simply just nice to be able to play something without someone popping up giving you a suggestion or saying such and such needs to be banned, or you need to change X because it's shit.
That's true.
And you have to keep in mind, although it's just you, in your eyes it's just you asking something or suggesting something, on Solar's end he probably gets like 5 handsfuls of people, like 25 people a day at least, suggest something to him, ask him to do something, and so yeah, I mean, I completely understand why he doesn't respond. He just likes to keep that time for himself, and that means he doesn't get burnt out. Because that's the last thing we do. I think that's the last thing we'd all want. I mean, Solar's got a lot of talent, and up until recently he took a bit of a hiatus from coding. But thankfully that he got that solid break. Now he's back and he's adding pirates and other random stuff in on a daily basis. So, no, I don't hold it against him, and I hope no one else holds it against him that he may not respond. It's just he needs time to himself.
I'm actually just glad he took one of my suggestions. He wants to use my Mad Hatter idea as the alternative for the Joker now.
yeah, that would work.
Yeah.
I was talking to him about, do you like the name the Mad Chatter? He's like, yes, I'm going to use that for the Joker, thank you.
Oh boy, just so long as when he uses his taunt, as soon as he uses his taunt and everyone gets shuffled around, you hear the Mad Hatter saying, change places!
Exactly. That has to happen. Yes.
Well, I'm pretty sure the Mad Hatter version that made that popular was actually the one from Futurama.
Maybe not. But we should get the original. Well, we should make a techno version of the original Alice in Wonderland one. You reckon?
No, there are no techno remixes. They're all crap.
You want originals now?
Ugh. I don't mind remixes, I really don't, but I've heard enough techno remixes. I went out to karaoke the other night, and for the first time ever, I found a place that actually had Gorillaz by Clint Eastwood in their karaoke list. I was like, yes, gonna sing Clint Eastwood. I know the entire song back to front. I can entire thing. Got up there, and it was a techno remix, and I didn't know any of it, and I felt like a DJ.
Well, how about we have a Sundance version then, if that makes you more happier?
What's wrong with the original? We all like the original. Stop mutilating it.
I'm just saying different versions to piss you off, that's all. Anyway, we better move on before we get too carried away.
Yeah.
So I think Leon actually answered more than one question there. So, the next one that's on my list is: how did you first meet Solar, and where did VHS come from? VSH, sorry.
Okay, that's an interesting question. And I know Solar has already answered this previously, and pretty much got it dead on, so I'll answer it again. Essentially, what happened was one day, Solar added me on Steam, and he said, "Hey, I'm a I think it was a 3FL or GameSpace admin, and I also happen to be a coder, and I like playing on your community." And he offered...
before you go on, I just got to ask, as soon as he mentioned the fact he was a coder, did your eyes light up like the 4th of July?
No, they lit up like a poker machine where you just got 3 in a row.
Ding, ding, ding!
Yes, pretty much. Since at that time, we had these ideas, and it was purely coincidental. Solar just popped out of bloody nowhere. Since I hadn't really... associated with Solar too much. I mean, don't get me wrong, I knew he played on the servers, but he wasn't exactly known to me at the time. So he adds me one day and he says that, he's a coder and he's a GameSpace admin and he'd like to help out. And so I queried him about the offer and just got a few details, etc. And everything seemed to check out and he seemed to know what he's doing. So it was just at that time that we were looking into VSH, and we were kind of wondering if we could give donators the ability to choose their boss.
Because back then VHS was already made, wasn't it?
Yeah, VSH was made by Eggman, who did a valiant but... how can I put this nicely?
Unrefined?
Very good choice of words. That's exactly what it was. It was a valiant effort. It was a totally new concept to TF2, really. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Juggernaut isn't a new concept, but in TF2 it is. And so he threw that mod together, and it was somewhat unrefined. There are some things that we would have liked to have seen done better. And
just one question with that. Was Saxonhal actually the only boss back then?
There were still 3 bosses.
So the concept of multiple bosses was done by Egg.
Oh, yes.
Just had
the
to
original
double-check
mod had Saxton Hale, Vagineer, the Headless Horseman, which I know Wheatley adores, and Christian Brutal Sniper, which at the time, Christian Brutal Sniper wasn't always unlocked. I think that was a special occasion boss.
Also, his ability back then wasn't actually the charge everyone towards him rage. He just got a huntsman for a little while, which I thought was kind of shit.
Yes, but I don't even remember back then. That's like the Stone Ages. And I prefer not to remember back to then. And so, we had the original VSH mod. We were actually one of the communities that approached Eggman, because Eggman originally had it as a closed beta. And he was very selective over who could actually use it. And we actually got his approval to run the mod. We were one of 3 communities at the time that he actually gave the mod to. And I threw it on the servers and retried it out, and there were things that didn't work quite right, and it was buggy. And in the end, I decided not to run it. I decided that it wasn't really at a standard where I would put it on my community, which you might say is insane. I mean, one of 3 communities that had it in the world. and the only one in
that's true.
Australia. And he said that he wasn't going to add any more in Australia. We would have been the only community that had it at the time. But no, it simply wasn't at the standard we wanted. I mean, that's the plain, simple truth. And so, yes, when Solar approached me, I said I'd get back to him about his offer, and I think I slept on it, and then it just popped in my head. Hang on. Coda, VSH.
Coda,
VSH.
VSH.
And so
all together now.
I go to Solar the next day and I say, hey, you haven't seen this Versus Saxton Hale plugin, have you? And I don't think at that time he had seen it. So he checked it out and he saw the videos and he thought, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. And at the time, he was kind of hesitant of rewriting someone else's mod. He likes doing his own things. That was just my phone. And so, yeah, I explained to him that, look, we'd like to give donators the ability to choose their boss. We'd like to fix up some of the crash bugs that were in it at the time. And so he got the source code and he looked at it, and his initial assessment was that he may as well rewrite it from scratch. And he said that because, I mean, there are just decisions in the code that made no sense whatsoever. I'll give you an example. Back then, it chose the boss the player was going to be before it even chose the player. And so for us to give them the option of choosing what boss they were going to be, it was already set in concrete. It was already chosen before they even got selected, before we could even check if they were a donator.
This round, no matter who was picked, they're going to be the Vagineer.
Pretty much. So it was stupid. That's the only way I can describe it. I mean, I thought the logical step would be, personally, the round ends, we select the player, we select what boss they're going to be, and then the round starts. That sounds pretty logical to me. But not to the Russians, apparently. Yes, apparently in Soviet Russia, boss chooses you.
Apparently in Soviet Russia, they rush the code so much that they don't think about it too much. Either that or that's a lame joke to take your pick.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, again, hat off to Eggman for the concept, hat off to Eggman for try, hat off to Eggman for making it public. He did a brilliant job.
Out of curiosity, I recall that in the early days when we were first testing it out, one of the alternate skins for Saxton Hale was actually Dr. Eggman's face. Whatever happened to that?
I don't entirely know. I think we kind of rewrote the code with the models and that before he added in the alternate skins.
I think I might be able to answer that. I think I got a pretty good... Here's my theory. The reason that his face was in there is because Sonic tied him up and put his face on there to laugh at him. What do you reckon?
It's a good theory from a theoretical standpoint, but from a practical standpoint, it's about as useful as a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest.
Well, that would be Gangplank, wouldn't it?
Nah, Gangplank just likes the wenches. He's in it for the wenches.
Fair enough.
And so, yeah, Solar went away with what I would have liked, and he comes back to me. I expected him to take ages. It was a reasonably complex plugin on the scale of complexity. From like, if you went from 0 to 10, VSH would be, in Eggman's version, it would have been about a 7 or an 8. And so I expected him to go away, take his time, and come back. And
how long did it take him?
About 4 or 5 days to rewrite the whole thing.
Oh, you're kidding! I thought it would have taken a few weeks at least. Come on,
yeah, that's what I thought. No, but basically, the second he went away, he started working on it, and for the next 4 or 5 days, he just worked at refactoring the code, basically rewriting in bits that he didn't like. And he comes back to me and says, hey, please have a look at this now. And so we jump into his test server, and it's perfect.
Okay, allow me to rephrase my current theory. I'm now reckoning Solar as Sonic in the sky. So allow me to rephrase that. Very sorry. 5 days, really? Wow, it's fast. You must be a bloody good coder.
He is. Again, take my hat off to Solar as well. So moving right along, so we've got the original rewritten mod, and we start playing around with it. And we think, I think it was after a week or two that, well, I don't exactly remember the timescale, but it wasn't too long before we got tired of the original bosses. And we thought, you know, wouldn't it be great if we could add some more in? Because at that point in time, I think Solar had already redone the rages on the original bosses, because a lot of them seemed odd and random.
Just to get a timestamp here, this was around January 210, wasn't it? Or January 211 or something like that, wasn't it?
No. It would have been about January 211.
Yeah. So this was only happening like roughly, well, in terms of a year and 3 months ago, all this you're talking about now, isn't it?
Yeah, essentially. Give me a second. Anyway. And so, yeah, it wasn't too long before we started getting bored of the original bosses. The community really liked the changes. Since we made a lot of changes to the code on the back.
Yeah.
The way damage works was retarded in the original mod, and so we adjusted that. And the way knockback, the original mod, the knockback was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Hale would spend most of his time flying around the map. Knockback.
I remember that. I really do.
I never play. I think I only came in the Hale when the first pony bosses were being introduced. Actually, that was around what, May, was it roughly? Yeah.
Yeah, around there.
Because actually, this is a true story, and I kid you not. Do you know Versi at all?
Yep.
Yeah. Versi was a good friend of mine on a Minecraft server I played on. Not yours, but another one that I'll leave out of the name. But he said like I was getting into things, and by now I had heard of, everyone who knows me knows I'm a huge brony, but like by now I've heard of this pony stuff, and I only briefly heard of it. And he says, "Oh, well, would you like to try something different?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'm bored." So Varsi was actually the person who introduced me to Saxton Hale. So I jump on the server, and I'm like, "Yeah, this seems like fun." Then, well, lo and behold, here's this Applejack shooting me with an apple launcher, and I'm like, okay, there's ponies in this? What's the goal of this? So after about a month of playing Hale, I had to check out, and I started finding out what bronies were by talking to people and whatnot. So I'm like, I gave in, started watching the show, and well, one episode turned into 8, and in one night I'd completed the first season. So just in case anyone's asked me, because I've been asked that a few times, I thought I'd just throw that out there. So thanks to the ponies and Hales, what got me hooked on ponies, actually.
Now, train of thought.
Yeah, well, true story though. But whose idea, my question is, was to put ponies in? Was it yours or was it Solar's?
Solar was the brony before I was. But you have to keep in mind, Solar's maintained this all along, and it's genuinely the truth. The reason he added ponies in was purely because they have distinct personalities, and you can pretty much attach any kind of rage to them. And we just happen to have, well, we've had, I think, 3 or 4 modelers in our history of the VSH mod at various points. Some of them still active, some not. And 2 of them just happen to be more than happy to do pony models for reasons that are pretty damn obvious. And so we thought, well, if it gets the work done and if there's people willing to do it and that's what they want to do, let's go with it and see how it goes. And that's where the ponies came from.
Well, there you go.
And the rest is history, as they say. As time has gone on, it's been pretty much a feedback process. We add stuff, people tell us what's good and what's shit, and then we adjust it a bit, or say, no, we're keeping it that way in some cases.
I just have one question regarding the changing of things and buffing things and nerfing things and what have you. What part of your collective consciousness leads you to believe that Captain Falcon is actually balanced in the fact that he hasn't been changed in seemingly over a year? Considering he is like the least played character because nobody wants to play him because he is complete arse at the moment.
Ah?
Okay, I'll answer that one. Prioritization. The reason we really... Now, I will be the first to recognise that there are two bosses that kind of suck ass at the moment. Captain Falcon being one, and the other being Wheatley.
Don't even get me started. Actually, do get me started. I've got my article on changes I would make waiting.
Yeah, well, I'll let you know what I have in mind, and what I spoke to Solar about only 2 nights ago. At the moment, Wheatley has the lowest win-loss ratio. Poor Wheatley. And one of the reasons that is because his rage is retarded. And it's retarded due to the fact that spies can sap the sentries and they stay sapped. Unless, of course, Wheatley runs around and breaks the sappers. Except when he breaks the sappers, he's vulnerable to damage. And, you know, some spy will come up behind him and stab him. And so, with Wheatley, what we have planned is essentially... Now, these are changes that we're considering. These are changes that may change before they even get in the game. But as of 2 nights ago, I spoke to Solar, and yeah, we kind of agreed that Wheatley needs some changes done. Essentially, sappers on sentries will only last the duration of 1 rage. And so what will happen is the spies will run around and sap Wheatley's sentries, Wheatley will rage, and then at the end of the rage, all the sappers on the map will be destroyed.
Ooh.
That will mean that spies will have to continually sap the sentries in between rages to keep them sapped, rather than just do it at the start. And of course, if Wheatley kills all the spies, then there's no one left to sap them, and of course they'll break themselves. And so, again, the rage gets a bit of a buff from that. The other thing that I put to Solar, and the other thing that he's considering, is not letting spies disguise when it's Wheatley. That would... let me explain. At the moment, with Wheatley, spies are pretty much immune to his rage. And they're immune because they can disguise as another team, as the other team, and they won't target him or that particular spy. And so, by not letting spies disguise, they can still cloak, but by not letting them disguise, they're not as immune as they would normally be to his rage. It's pretty much the only rage I can think of. Well, there's maybe 1 or 2 others where a specific class gets that huge advantage, and that kind of needs to be fixed. What are your thoughts, Wheatley?
Well, I actually wrote an article. I'm not sure if you ever saw it or not. It was one of the first articles I wrote called "What Would I Change About Hale?" And unfortunately, I forgot to include Wheatley in the main article, so I wrote my thoughts about him in the comments section. And specifically, this is, and I'll read it word for word so that I'm not, updating it based on what you just said. It says, "Appreciated." I also realised I forgot to mention my thoughts about Wheatley. Aside from fixing his hitbox so he can be shot from every angle, thus reducing the need for his horrible damage taken increase, which honestly I hate, his taunt needs a buff. Spies can easily shut down Wheatley's effectiveness, and while I understand that's kind of the point, as having every single sentry active at once would be hideously overpowered, I believe he is too easily countered. As a suggestion, I would say that perhaps sappers cannot be placed during the duration of his taunt, so any sentries he desaps during that time will be guaranteed to keep shooting until the rage expires. Or, taking that a step further, his 200% rage, so not his 100%, but his 200% rage, should automatically unsap all sentries within a certain radius around him. So further away players will still be safe, but closer ones run the risk of getting gunned down by the local sentries. And that was my basic idea. Because I respect your idea with the idea of desapping everything, but if there's even one halfway decent spy left with a cloak, I can tell you from personal experience, they are fucking, pardon me, language, they are almost friggin' impossible to actually catch. And
especially when they got dead ringers.
And especially when you're constantly getting blasted by rocket launchers and crit rockets, because Wheatley's knockback is absolutely hideous. Because of that stupid damage increase from the fact that his hitbox is broken and needs to be accounted for, I think that having them all desapped at the end it still wastes his entire taunt. And I can tell you right now, wasting a rage is never fun. It is just not fun. So having all the sentries be de-sapped in a radius around him means that the players nearby, yeah, it's tactical, all those players are going to be in danger, but the further away ones will be okay. That's my idea for it.
Yeah, I can understand that idea, certainly. But the concept of the changes that were proposed 2 nights ago were based on the assumption that by desapping all of the sentries, it could kind of bring out the spies out of hiding because they'd have to go around and resap.
It does, but again, this is in a perfect fantasy world where there is no other players and there is no knockback. Knockback and other players will easily give the spies the opportunity they need to sap things. And since you can see where Wheatley is at all times, all the spies have to do is keep him in their line of sight. As soon as he gets near, cloak, vanish, gone. There's nothing he can do about it. That's the hideous thing.
I think I'll interlude here and keep moving on. We are nearing the 1 hour mark, so I'm not going to wrap things up fast, but I will move on from here. I have, I do have one really quick question, then one more serious question for you, Leon. I know a lot of people say this as a joke, but is it true that you enjoy banning others and mucking around with other people's heads? Don't get me wrong, I say that as a joke from time to time, but I have actually been asked by random players, who I will not say their names, I have been asked that on occasion. So what's your answer to that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Is it, do you get, probably not banning people when you really mean it, but, do you enjoy, like having a joke when you kick someone from TeamSpeak for 5 minutes, or when you go to place I won't mention and muck with them I won't mention?
It depends. That's actually quite an interesting question, and it goes down to psychology. I would tend to say no.
Oh, come on. We know you. We all know that you love to choke slam the banhammer on people.
But I will add on to that. There are some instances where you would just absolutely love, to kick that little shit out of the server and make him never come back. And during those moments, it's really enjoyable to do that. I mean, I'm sure everyone has been in that position where they would love to get rid of somebody. What they would do to get rid of a certain someone that annoys the fuck out of them.
I'm quite sure I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. I'm going to deny all claims of that, yes.
And so, for the most part, I mean, if it's purely administrative stuff, that's fine. I don't tend to really care about it. But yes, I cannot lie. There are some bans or some kicks or some certain things on certain other groups that do actually have a level of satisfaction to it. But don't mistake that for happening all the time. Or don't mistake that the only reason I ban people in the first place is because I enjoy it, since that's not it. No. In fact, I commonly spread that rumour around just because it's purely funny, people thinking, oh, don't annoy Leon, he'll ban you.
Is that where the Summon Leon dance comes up? But if you use the Summon Leon dance, you will get banned.
Yeah, something along those lines.
I've heard of those rumours.
It's a bit like using Explode in Pokemon. It works, but you really don't want it to.
No. Oh, speaking of Pokemon, I think I can guess one person you've enjoyed banning. Nombre. Yes, over the past.
What?
No.
I prefer not to name specific.
No, I'm just joking. All reference to Nombre, he's a good guy, but I'm just making a joke.
Yeah, well, I could make a joke that you too have been banned at one point, Loopy.
Actually, 3 times now.
I think even Wheatley's been banned. Wheatley, have you ever been banned?
I don't recall ever actually having been banned. I have been banned from a different server, but it was actually at the time it was a complete mistake, but it was really poor timing on the part of the person involved.
I think I'll classify... Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, I was getting trolled quite relentlessly, and I was not enjoying it one bit, and I was complaining to the administrator to do something about it, and she didn't seem particularly interested in doing anything about it. A few moments later, the person repeated their offence, I complained again, and then I got banned. She immediately apologized and said, "Oh no, I meant to ban the other person," but it did not help.
Yes, I know this.
Yes.
I think my case is more I've been kicked from TeamSpeak for a night or two for overstepping my marks, but yeah, sorry for another time. Well, you are the boss, so yes.
Yeah, we should probably get this moving towards the end, seeing as I'm probably not making any friends with the people who are also in this house trying to sleep.
Oh, sorry. All right. Well, we'll make this quick. One last question. Any big plans for the future of Ozzy Ferocity, including Minecraft, TF2, Killing Floor, or other new games you got planned to make servers for?
Well, don't get me wrong. I mean, we're always trying to improve things, whether it be the existing servers or the website. But
no big plans for the future?
I can't say that there's really big plans. I mean, don't get me wrong. As new games come out, kind of looking forward to CS:GO purely because I know it's going to be a semi-popular title. And so we'll probably have CS:GO servers, don't get me wrong. We'll just see how they go.
Alright.
I'm not a huge CS fan. In fact, compared to TF2, I think Counter-Strike sucks ass. But, no, we'll see how it goes. Other than that, I can't foresee any huge plans. I'm just thinking, you may as well continue on and I'll get back to you on that one.
Alright, well, we'll come back to that another day. Alright, we'll move on to... is there anything else you wish to add before we move on to emails? You'd like to say for yourself?
3 things. Well, yeah, I'll keep it to 3 things. If you do donate to the community, don't get me wrong, I love our donators. I love them lots. They help keep Ozzy Frosty great. They pay for the service, and without them, Ozzy Frosty wouldn't exist. But if you do donate to the community, please, for fuck's sake, and excuse the French, make sure that you have your email address set on your forum profile, and make sure you have your Steam ID set in your forum profile. The amount of people who donate without those and then send me emails or private messages bitching about not getting their donator is ridiculous.
Oof.
So please, for the love of God, I'll take the opportunity to remind people, email and Steam ID in forum profile if you're going to donate. Number 2, now I've lost my train of thought.
So first we have letter A, now we have number 2. This is very interesting, 3 points.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm going to jump between. Next one might be C.
How about Roman numerals?
Well, I could do Roman numerals. I guess number 2 will be if you do have any feedback about the servers. If the feedback is VSH related, please approach Solar regarding it. Or, if you value your life, put it on the forums. And if people on the forums like it, and you can take a step back and look at it tomorrow and say, yes, this is not a retarded idea, then go and tell Solar if you value your life. So, again, with your ideas, if they're VSH related, always take a step back and make sure they're not retarded or anything, and then forward them to Solar. If they are server related, community related, website related, administrator, anything else, you are more than welcome to send them to me at any time. The best way to do that, and I should really put this somewhere, is to send me a private message on the forums. Do not add me on Steam or Cthulhu will eat you. I guarantee it.
Well, I'm so glad I didn't taste that yummy then.
That sounds like an incentive to me.
Well,
you would.
If you weren't on my friends list already, Wheatley, I'd say try it and see how it goes.
I don't know. I'm pretty good pals with Cthulhu as it is.
Lucky you are.
Mm-hmm.
Point C?
So I've covered feedback, I've covered donations. I guess point C, if you have issues with players, please, for the love of Christ, take the initiative to record a demo. These are just general administrative things that have kind of been bothering us admins of late. So if you see someone in the servers and there isn't an admin around and you can't get in touch with one, take the initiative to record a demo. I think you can just easily do it by typing record and then a file name. I think that's right.
In the console, not in chat.
Yes, in the console. Don't do it in chat because then the person will know you're trying to record a demo and that's just bad. So if you do that and then email that file to us, it'll be in your TF directory. It means we can actually, see the person doing it and then we can nail the bastard and you'll feel satisfied. It's very hard to take word of mouth. So demos are invaluable when you're trying to when you're trying to remove someone who's doing something wrong. So 3 things, remember them, and I'll be infinitely happy.
All right. Well, I think we'll move on to the emails now since we are just over the hour mark now on my recording. And we only have a few, so Lucky, we'll go to the emails and wrap things up. But I'll start off. You got the emails in front of you, don't you guys?
Yep.
All right, well, I'll get the first one underway. Why not, since I've got them ready. This one's, it says, hello, Loopy and Wheatley. Just Matt the Mighty here again.
Hey, Matt.
Love podcast free. Oh, yeah, sorry. Hello, Matt. It says, I'll try to make a good and pretty-looking background for you. Oof, that sounds good to me.
Yes.
Oh, he wants to have a guess at my stuff. He says, is your favourite game... Because last week I did put this out here. I did say, if you want to have a guess my favourite game, cartoon character, or movie, go for it. But let's see. He says, I think your favourite game character is Crash Bandicoot. I got the idea from your avatar. Is it of the Ripperoo, a Crash Bandicoot character? I will say this, Ripperoo is a favourite of mine, but not of all time. I thought someone would put that one in, but I didn't think anyone would get that soon. And it says, also a question, how the heck did you know I was having Leon this week? And it says, how did you come up with the idea for Ozzy Ferocity, and why do you think it became so popular? Oh, I think we've already covered that. Mm-hmm. Anything else you would like to say on that, Leon?
Anything I would like to say on... how did I come up with the idea of Ozzy Ferocity?
I think we've already covered that, yeah.
Yeah, again, it just spawned because I wasn't getting along with the community we started out with. That's pretty much it.
Americans being difficult to get along with?
Oh yeah, who would have ever thought? I mean, that's why I actually noted that they were American, because it kind of says it all.
Oh, yeah.
No, I mean, it was just purely because they wanted to do things their way, I wanted to do things my way. And being the bill payer of the servers, yeah, I pretty much won that debate.
Let it be known that us Aussies, especially us at OzFur, are racist bastards. Thank you very much.
No, I'm not racist. Don't ever say that.
Oh, when it comes to Yankees, that is.
Yankees? No, I don't dislike Americans. They just dislike everyone.
Oh, that's true. Don't get me wrong. We're only having a joke here. So for you loyal OzFur American fans, we do love you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It says, keep up the great work as always. Awesome work. Desperately can't wait for podcast 4. Oh, well, there you go. All right, you got the next one?
Yep, sure do. Alrighty, let's see here. Got the, assuming that I'm reading the same page that you are, I've got the ones which are the questions now. And the first lot is questions for Loopy and Rhythmia, and I'm pretty sure the next lot of questions really don't actually matter all that.
No, we'll read them out when that comes,
yep,
but yeah.
Exactly. The questions for Loopy and Rhythmia. First one, how did you find the Ozzy Ferocity servers or forums? Well, I found the forums through the servers, in all complete honesty, and it's one of the rare occasions when I have actually joined a forum because of a server. It never happens for me. You see the spam all the time on every server, and I do not give a toss.
Same thing for me when Varsi dragged me onto the Hail servers. Same thing can be said of me.
Mm. But as for how did I find the Ozzy Ferocity servers, well, usually it's just a result of, travelling around. In my case, it was because I had been playing on, years ago, I used to play on a server called the Australia and New Zealand Mic Users Group.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. Back then, I used several different identities. I used to play Rorschach, which is, you may actually notice some people that my avatar is actually Rorschach's face with a different color sheen put over it when I use it on Steam. Because at the time, I did quite a good Rorschach impersonation. But
that is a good one.
Good times were had by all, and my very first ever experience on that server, funnily enough, considering what I'm doing now, was as a commentator for their competitive games. I used a terribly British person called Basil, and it was enjoyable, good times.
Oh, yes, definitely. How about we go to the Mad Hatter's Tea Party and be pommy together, yes.
Yeah, certainly I'll be in. But, basically, I met the Ozzy Ferocity servers because ANZ TF2 Mug had to shut down, which was very upsetting to me. And then I briefly passed on to the Unreal Ozzy server, where I met Quapple, among other people, who me and him become like best buddies. And
he's a bucket load of fun.
When we found out that the Unreal Ozzy server was going to shut down, we were deeply upset, and we wound up playing until the very second that the server was disconnected, and we were there singing loudly and having fun, and the last map we played was Duel 3, and and then after that we were kind of homeless vagrants, and the next place we found was Ozzy Ferocity, and here we have stayed for pretty much the rest of the time.
Oh, cool. What's he asking next? Because we've got to keep things moving.
Yep. How did we two meet? I believe you'll find that we two probably met playing Saxton Hale, I would assume.
Yeah, well, I kind of, I during my career playing Hale, I'll be honest, I knew of Wheatley, but I didn't know him that personally. Well, I got to know him as time went on, but I didn't know him on a real personal level like I do now. I think when I actually only really got to know you a few weeks back, didn't I?
Yeah, well, we only started conversing properly when I left a comment on one of your podcasting videos when you were saying you were looking for a new co-presenter, and I said, yo, right here.
Yeah, and I asked around, and apparently Wheatley had a person, so I just took him for a test drive. How long did that discussion go that night? I think it was only 4 hours, wasn't it?
It was quite a long time. It got to the point where I was looking over at the watch, or rather the clock, and thinking, Jesus, we've been at this for a while.
Yeah, and every time we started to say goodbye, that one little thing kept us pinned for an hour.
Oh, man, it was all about the music. All about the music and the old TV shows. The constant reminiscing about old cartoons we used to love.
Uh-huh. And the last one is, what other games you like to play besides TF2 and Minecraft?
Oh, boy.
Just the ones you actively play now. We don't need a 20-page list.
Oh, boy. If I'm going to have to go with games that I play at least with semi-regularity, I can't really say Mass Effect because they're single-player games and what have you. But I think that the games that I've been playing the most recently that I really, really love are Bastion, which I heartily recommend to anyone with an artistic bone in their body. The Binding of Isaac, which I strongly recommend to anyone, especially people who are easily squeamish or people who are deeply religious. You people especially need to play this game. And besides those two, I'd say that I also play, well, obviously Team Fortress, can't really say that, and that doesn't really count. I also play a bit of Terraria, though I've never really gotten far in it. Everyone else and their dog seems to be further than me. And Super Meat Boy, which I have been listening to the soundtrack all damn day while I've been jogging around, so, yeah.
Well, as for me, I play a little bit of Star Wars The Old Republic, and a bit of StarCraft 2, and some Civ 5 on the side as well.
Ah, yes, Civilization.
Oh, yeah, I was playing a little bit today, actually. It wasn't too bad.
The game which made Gandhi infamous.
And let's see, we'll save those other questions you had there for next time, Flaming Fox. And he says, keep up the good work. Cheers, yours truly, Flaming Fox.
Wait.
Alrighty.
Oh my god, there are more emails.
Hey, maybe our guest star would like to have a go at the next one, if you got a doubly on.
Which one would that be?
The one under Flaming Fox.
On your last podcast, you mentioned the Umbrella Man a few times, and well, I was wondering, what is the Umbrella Man? Any information on this would be greatly appreciated. Wheatley also said he did performances. Is there any way we can see him in action? Wheatley?
Well, I'll answer the second one first. If you live around the Newcastle area, you can generally find that there will be some show that I will be performing in. The last show I did anything for, I was just doing the sound and lighting for it, which was Barefoot in the Park, being performed on the theatre on Brunker Road. But there are a few things that I'm going to be getting up to. I'll have more information about that later, and I'll probably post them on the OzFur forums in one of my many articles. But I actually did post an article quite recently called Eternal Dusk, which was a short film that I was starring in. I wasn't really doing my trademark rambling, but it was me physically performing in the mask, in the costume. It was part of a short film festival that we entered over the weekend, and we totally won, because we're awesome like that. But as for the Umbrella Man, well, if I went on in a complete and detailed explanation of the Umbrella Man, I would be going on all night.
You got 1 minute.
Yeah. 1 minute is still not enough time, but I'll try and make it as quick as I can. Basically, he started out as a university project and basically just a photography project. I won't go into his complete history, but he has become very, very popular since then, and he has changed significantly as a character. There have been people that maybe some of you have probably heard of. I think the most well-known for any of you would be Chemical Alia. Even if the name doesn't ring the bell, you will know of her work. She was the lady who designed the Saharan spy set, the Familiar Affairs, the Eternal Reward, the L'Étranger.
Oh, yeah.
She is a fantastic artist and a wonderful lady, and she designed that Saharan spy set. In her gallery of pictures which she has done, she's actually got art of the Umbrella Man earlier on in her gallery, which makes me feel very, very chuffed.
Just a quick question. You going to post a picture up on the forums for everyone to see?
Yes, I will. I will post an article about the Umbrella Man character that explains him in more detail than I'm doing here, but the short version of him is that every good show requires a good stagehand, somebody who's waiting in the wings with a copy of the script, making sure that nothing goes horribly, horribly wrong. And if something happens like a prop catches fire or something that the characters can't realistically handle themselves without breaking away from the script, the stagehand steps on and fixes the problem. And they're usually dressed all in black or something. He is that for the world. He's not like the Doctor who comes in and fixes things. He's not like an angel who just wants to protect everyone. He's not a superhero who wants to save the people, and he's not a supervillain who wants to watch the world burn. He has the script. He knows what must happen. He will make sure that it does. Whether that means that two small children will meet each other in a park and create a burgeoning romance or friendship, or whether that means that he will have to start a war that will consign thousands of people to their death. He will make sure that history keeps turning in the way that it must. Well,
I also hear that the Umbrella Man makes a good double latte macafropo, or whatever some fancy name of coffee is.
Quite possibly, although I would be very disturbed to see him try and drink anything through that gas mask of his.
Well, technically you can suck vapors in through the air and get a little bit of water, can't you?
You can, technically, but that would assume that he actually likes drinking that stuff. I seem to remember that I once jokingly said that his favourite thing to eat was banana and jam sandwiches, but I'm still not entirely certain how that worked.
And just to clarify, that one was from Def 10101001.
Ah, yes, good old Def.
Yeah, and Leon actually skipped an email, so I'll have to go back up and read it. So this is our last one. It says, this one is actually from Randoms, if anyone knows Randoms. It's, since you already asked your guests what their favourite cartoons, games... Oh, I forgot to do that to Leon, oops. I'll do that in a second. And characters about mixing up. He says, examples, how about asking them their favourite movies, magicians, favourite piece of music? I might actually... well, since he's bringing that up, I actually might write out an official list for the next episode, but just to keep things short, because we are running out of time, I'll ask Leon just the quick ones. Leon, what is your favourite game?
Favourite game, excluding Team Fortress 2?
If Team Fortress 2 is it, Team Fortress 2 is it.
Well, I have 2,000 hours on TF2. I think that's more than I could say on anything else. So one would inherently conclude it's my favourite game.
And what is your favourite character out of any game, cartoon, or movie?
Out of any game, cartoon, or movie? Deckard Cain out of Diablo 2 because he's a blubbering idiot.
Stay a while and listen.
That's it.
I think we're going to have and an Imitations with Riftmere episode one podcast.
I think all we need is to have Deckard Cain be the first thing anyone hears at the start of this podcast. They're going to have to.
I've actually been thinking of what to do for the start of the podcast. I might take that in consideration, actually.
Next week, I look forward to hearing it.
We'll see. I was actually going to think and put it in Ripperoo's translation of the show on it, but we'll see what happens. I'll flip a coin for it, eh? What do you say, Riftmere?
I'm all up for thing with stuff.
You're that tired, are you?
Not so much that I'm tired. I must admit I'm slightly distracted.
Fair enough. All right, well, that was the last email. So, as always, if you do wish to email us, please drop us a line at ozradio@ozzyferocity.net. As you can see, we're happy to answer any of your questions and or suggestions. And me and Riftmere will always be here to have a laugh at whatever you write. So, if you think you can make us laugh, be my guest. And just one last note before we all sign off. That competition I mentioned last week, I will put information in the notes, so you can get it in the YouTube link just underneath. And there'll be a formal form on the forums for it and prizes and whatnot, so go check it out. And if you think you know me well enough, have a crack at it. Anyway, thanks again for our special Commander-in-Chief, Leon Hunter.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, I am saluting you by sticking my butt in your face. I mean, with my hand next to my head, yes.
As long as I can't see it, I don't care.
Oh, that's the good thing. You wouldn't want to see it. It looks ugly. Trust me, I've stared bark naked at it.
I, on the other hand, have an amazing arse that you would love to behold.
Oh, what did you do? Polish it with spit shine?
No, I had other people do that for me.
I don't want to know. So that's what that gas mask is for, is it?
Come on, guys. I never actually got the rating of this podcast. What is the rating, Loopy?
I haven't checked, actually, but we are getting quite a few views, actually. I haven't checked the ratings just yet, sorry. Or not recently, anyway.
Oh. I'm checking the live feed. It's through the charts. We've got literally 2 listeners.
Talking about ratings as in content, as in target audience.
Target audience will probably be mature gamers that play on OzFur, really.
Okay, so it's totally fine that we're discussing mature comments like, art.
As long as we don't get too overboard, yes, all fine. I mean, we are kind of taking a lax tolerance to how the gaming community works, and well, you've seen half the stuff they post on the Hail servers with tags, haven't you?
Hey, I read the chat logs for fun.
Is that your hobby now, is it?
Always watching.
I feel...
No, hang on.
I feel that we should also clarify.
Always watching.
I'm watching you, Wazowski.
Oh.
But,
Flaming hell, stop upsiding me at every comment. Sheesh.
I think we should also clarify that when we say mature gamers, we do mean gamers over a certain age. We do not mean emotional or mental maturity, because if we were going to include those people in the list of people who shouldn't be watching, then we wouldn't have any viewers.
Pick me, I shouldn't be watching.
Technically, you're not watching, you're talking.
Oh, good point.
No, I think we need an episode just where we listen to Wheatley's voice and his impersonations. He could do a whole episode of it.
He's not the only one. He might be able to do more than me, but I can pull off a few.
Oh, no,
but I'll save that for the episode, eh?
Maybe we could even get some guest listeners in, and they can just hold up. We'll have Loopy do one, and then we'll have Wheatley do one, and then people can hold up the cards with numbers on it. Rating.
Okay, let me put it to you this way: your card better be a 10, or you're never going to be on this podcast again. Okay?
Do you even have the authority to do that? Hold on. Technically, it is my own podcast. Huh.
It's true, we do have the Ozzy Ferocity name on it.
Damn it, I knew I couldn't get away with that.
Now, all we need to do is convince Leon to change the name of the server.
What are we going to call it? The Mad Chatters? What are we going to call it? Ozzy Ferocity? Mad Chatters?
No, we keep Ozzy Ferocity. He changes it to something else, like Leon's Lugnuts.
Yeah, that'll work.
Right.
I'm sorry, democracy rules. You have voted, Leon. Shut up.
Hey, who said this was a democracy?
Yeah, good point.
You are
paying me after all.
It's a benevolent... Well, not really. It's a benevolent dictatorship. As
I
said.
like the benevolent dictatorship, if I'm going to be completely honest.
I actually wouldn't go so far to say benevolent dictatorship, but yes, a dictatorship nonetheless, yes.
No, it is... No, a dictatorship is worse. A benevolent dictatorship is where you dictate, but you dictate out of love and care for people, for their own
Exactly.
being.
Leon, love and care, that doesn't sound right.
It's almost like a form of narcissism.
Oh yeah, it's basically a case of, I know what is good for you, why the fuck aren't you listening to me?
Yeah, I know what you did last summer too, yeah, of course.
Yes, I can't believe I said that. I'm going to be hearing about it for the next 5 weeks now. But
You can pay me $20 to edit it out.
I'll take my chances.
I've got to make money somehow. I swear, one day I'm going to find something that someone will edit out for $20.
Okay.
Find something.
How about you edit it out and I don't ban you?
Oh, deal.
Yeah.
No promises. I think we better wrap things up before we keep yapping on too much. We are at an hour and 25 minutes, so we will wrap up. So this is the Mad Chatters and the special guest star of Leon. Tan hot. Come on.
A tin hut!
There you go. We are signing off, and thank you very much, Leon, for being our extra special guest star.
You're certainly welcome.
All right, we'll catch you after the Easter break, because this will be posted during Easter, and we'll see you the week after. Until then, cheerio, lads.
Yes, see you later. I do apologise for us having to cut off, but we have this strange tradition where we actually finish the podcasts on the same day we start them.
Well, actually, another 10 minutes, and we'll go over to the next day.
Mm-hmm. That's why we're finishing now.
Exactly. All right, catch you later, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.